Now, the Tavistock Gender Clinic will be closed down after a review found it was not safe for children. You warned about these very dangers in your best-selling book, The Madness of Crowds. Are we now going to see in the coming years these massive class action lawsuits over what was done to children there, confused children who have been given irreversible medical treatments, often with devastating lifelong consequences?
Yes, I said in that book, as you know, Rita, I said that every age does things that people look back on it and they think, what were they thinking? You know, every age in history is like that. And so in a way, one of the jobs of writers and thinkers and journalists should be to try to work out what those things are now and stop doing them fast. And I said in The Madness of Crowds, I'm pretty confident that one of the things that future generations will look back on this age with just amazement at is that, you know, children who weren't allowed to buy cigarettes or alcohol, who aren't allowed to get a tattoo, were being not just allowed, but encouraged into a pathway in which there was only one direction, and that was the direction of transitioning, that is, trying to approximate the opposite sex. And I interviewed people who'd been through this process at the Tavistock, you know, young people who did not who were not really given any guidance other than so-called affirmation. And I knew something was up at the Tavistock because there was an enormously swift staff turnover in the last decade or more. Now, when that sort of thing starts to happen, you can tell with medical professionals that they're starting to become uneasy. And then inevitably the whistleblowers emerged, and then the first court case. And now, thank goodness, there is a proper light on this. It's going to close. But I would hope that there will be now a formal judge-led inquiry into what happened. Because, you know, Rita, one of the oddities of our age, and we've spoken about this before, but it's worth dwelling on, is, you know, we pretend that we protect children and that we want to help them. And actually, it's not just unhelpful, but actively cruel to say to a child who is confused, and look, the world is confusing, and your teenage years, it's especially confusing. But to say, you know, if you feel a little bit left out or a bit strange in your body sometimes, and who doesn't feel strange in puberty, but if you feel a bit strange in your body, maybe you're of the opposite sex, and maybe you can just get those developing breasts lopped off. Or you know, we can do a double mastectomy on totally healthy young women and much more. You know, that is wicked. And the idea that such things were being encouraged and forced on young children is, as I say, something which I'm very confident future generations will look back in amazement at. But I hope that in this generation, there are going to be class action lawsuits and more coming down the road as fast as anything. Adults, it's one thing. You can make your own decisions as an adult. But as a child, what a wicked thing this was to allow to go on.